Welcome back to Conversations with Jennifer. Jennifer's an estate planning attorney, and today we're going to talk about a family that could potentially need help, right? So we want to do kind of a quasi case study, but just wanted to give you an idea that if you think this relates to you, and these are the things that you may want to look at from a planning perspective. So let's talk about our family, Jennifer. Let's say we have two spouses, let's just say 45, 47. They have two girls, let's just say 10 and 14. They own a house together. They each have their own retirement accounts. They have probably one investment account that's kind of like a joint account, and then they have like another joint checking account for their day-to-day bills and their payroll and everything else to go into there. And let's add one wrinkle in terms of one of the spouses has some inherited art that wants to go directly to the children and bypass the spouse. So when we hear of this type of scenario, these type of people, what are the top three concerns people should think about?
Okay. So this kind of client makeup is very common with the type of people who I do planning for. So first thing is that I notice is they have minor children. So anytime you're dealing with minor children, the drafting process is a little bit more complicated until those children reach the age of majority. So having a basic estate plan in place right away is really important. And so what that includes is having a revocable living trust here in California, having wills for both of them, which would include the guardian provisions for their minor children, having a healthcare directive in place as far as who's making medical decisions for them, particularly because they have young children, and then also a financial power of attorney. So making sure they have a basic estate plan in place is really critical. Once those kids become adults, then owning assets jointly and how they're distributed becomes less concerning, because even if you have to go through a bit of an administrative process, everyone's an adult, so you don't have to worry about anyone being taken care of. So first thing I look at is, okay, you have minor children. Even if you hold assets jointly as spouses, I really want to make sure you have a basic estate plan in place and who your people are who are going to be not only making decisions for you, but also for your minor children until they reach the age of majority. So that would be number one. Number two is going through the assets and making sure we're holding title the right way. Here in California, we're a community property state. So anytime I meet with spouses who hold assets as joint tenants, I talk to them about maybe you want to update title so that we reference the fact that it's community property. So going through the assets and making sure not only title, but also the character of the property is properly referenced. So going through 401k or retirement, those are really unique assets, as you know, Amar. So especially with minor children involved, we want to work through the proper beneficiary designation for those types of assets, and then working through the various financial accounts. Checking account, you may not decide you want to transfer into your trust just because you don't want to get a new account number and you have a lot of automatic deposits and withdrawals.
My bill pay.
Those sort of accounts we'll walk through and talk to clients about how to make it administratively easier, as well as making sure everything's in order and in place. And then the third thing is just working through the distribution provisions so that you're clear what happens when the first spouse dies and what happens with the second spouse dies. And obviously, because we have minor children, those provisions are going to be really important to work through how and when your children are going to be getting the assets. And anytime we are dealing with a spouse who has specific assets that they want to go in a certain direction, we want to work through how best to achieve that. Something like artwork, where maybe the surviving spouse will still want to be able to use and enjoy, we can work something into the estate plan so that it's clear it is the separate property of the first spouse, and at surviving spouse's death, it will be going to children, or working through, okay, it's going to go to children at first spouse's death. So we'll work through the various ways that we can make sure the assets are distributed the way that they want. But again, anytime we're dealing with minor children, it becomes a little trickier, and we want to walk through all those particular issues.
Yeah, that's good. So just to summarize, right, it's making sure that, your young children, that there's somebody going to be there to take care of them, right? You can make those financial decisions, or who's going to make those financial decisions to help you. And then titling of accounts. So that way we have the right community property language, as well as when you're ready to distribute assets, they're titled correctly as well.
That's it.
That's it. So if you think this is you and you have questions about how your stuff's titled or what you're doing with your estate plan and who's going to take care of your children, please reach out to either Jennifer or myself, and we'll be more than happy to help you. Thank you for watching.
Great. Thank you.